This is the inside of the Elddis Majestic 135. If I firstly come to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on just here. Beside that, we have water pump on and off. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. Whenever the pump is running, a green light will illuminate to let you know. We then have the main isolator just here for all of the lights. We then have awning light on and off, condition of the leisure battery, and how much water is in the fresh tank. Beneath that, we then have the whale control panel for the heating and hot water. You'll see the top one here is for the water heater, and you'll see as I begin to press the button, a series of icons will appear until it eventually ends back up at off. So if we start with the first icon just there, little picture of a snowflake, that's the boiler's frost protection mode, so it will just keep the water above freezing to avoid any frost damage. We then have a single wavy line. Wavy lines represent mains electricity. So as long as we're connected up to the main supply, we will now be heating hot water on the mains using about 1 kilowatt. Now mains electricity using about 2 kilowatts. So these two just dependent on the ampage of the site you're on to try and avoid tripping. If we have no main supply, we can use gas. And as you can see, we then get a little picture of a flame. Whenever the boiler is consuming gas, a little flame will appear just where my finger is to let you know. After that, we then have dual fuel. So we have a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt and a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts. Dual fuel is extremely handy during the winter months if you want to get up to temperature really quickly. And then back to off again. If there is a problem with the boiler in any way, a red exclamation mark will appear where my finger is now. If you then press the water heater button, you'll get a series of red lights appear down here, and then within the manual it will tell you what the problem is. If it's something relatively basic, like you're trying to run it, or you've tried to light it on gas and you've run out of gas, or your gas bottle's not turned on, once you've rectified the problem, you will need to reset the control panel. And the way you reset the water heater is by holding the water heater button down and then pressing the plus button at the same time, and then the exclamation mark will disappear. If we now drop to the heating, you'll see again series of icons until we eventually end up back at off. So firstly, we have again wavy lines, so mains electricity, this time using about 500 watts. Then we have two wavy lines, mains at about 1 kilowatt, and then 3 wavy lines, mains at about 2 kilowatts. So again, just dependent on the ampage of the site you're on. After that, no main supply. We can again run on gas with a little picture of the flame, and again whenever it's consuming gas we will get a little flame appear just here. Again, if we now move on, we then have dual fuel, so main supply and gas together, and then back to off again. And again, if there's a problem with the heating, red exclamation mark appears, hold the button down just here, again series of red lights, and then in the manual it will tell you what the problem is, and to reset it just hold the heater button down and press the plus. Down here we have the water pump. We also have the surge dampener just there, so that stops so much pump shudder. we then have the table that just clips on to the back wall. We have the microwave just here, so this will work when we're hooked up to main supply. The isolator is just here. Do make sure that the contents is removed for travel. We have the normal quick start stop just here, power settings, wait time, defrost, etc. just there. Beneath it is the hob, so we've got the electric hot plate just there that, like the microwave, will work when the van is connected up to mains electricity. Operates just here, and the red light comes on to let you know it's in operation. We then have the 3 gas burners. It's just a matter of pushing in, twisting round, and then hitting the igniter just here. Beneath the hob we then have the oven and the grill. So to light the oven, push in to the left and hit the igniter. And then to light the grill, push in to the right and again hit the igniter. Beside this we then have the Majestic fridge. So at the moment it's currently in the off position. If I now flick it to the little picture of the 2-pin plug, this is now the fridge running on mains electricity. After that we have a little picture of a battery, and this one is 12 volt maintain. So this is what we select to keep the fridge cold whilst the motorhome is in motion. It will only work whilst the engine is running. And then lastly we have gas. To light the fridge on gas, come across to the temperature control and then hold it in and push the igniter. What we then want is this line here to drift out of the white into the green to let us know that it has lit. If when you let go it drops back off into the white, just repeat the process, because it can sometimes take a couple of goes, especially when a new gas bottle has been fitted, as there may be some air left in the system. As soon as it's turned back off again, it will put itself straight back out again. Freezer box just here. And then we have the travel catch just here, so this just snaps across like so. And we also have a secondary point as well, which we can clip it onto to hold the door on ajar when we're not actually using it. Beneath the fridge we have the consumer unit. So we have the individual MCBs and they're all labelled up. We then have the main RCD and test button just here. So if anything's not working on main supply, just check to see if this is tripped. Beneath that we then have the 12 volt fuses, and again they're all labelled up. So if anything is not working on 12 volt, just check to see if a fuse is blown. This motorhome is fitted with automatic tank heaters, and the isolator switch for it is just here. If I now turn it on, the tank heaters haven't necessarily now come on. There does need to be water actually in the tanks, and the external temperature has to drop below about 3 or 4 degrees. If you do not want these to come on at all, you can just flick them off like so. Beside this we have the gas isolation taps. They're all in the on position, and quite frankly they can all stay like that. I always say if you do smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and turn off the gas bottle. Washroom just here. So we have the basin and the shower, the toilet just here. The seat does swivel about. To open to the cassette, just slide the grey lever across just here and then push the flush on the top. Level indicator just here, so it will illuminate to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. Close the cassette back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody's left it open. Above my head just here is the Omnivent fan. To use, firstly wind the roof vent open, and then we have middle button to turn it on, and then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling, and it's variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are down for travel. Wardrobe just here. So in here we have the television aerial. So the white box just there is the digital amplifier for it, on and off. Just on the side here. Control the boost just on this dial here. To raise the television aerial, just literally undo the collar at the top here and then just push it up and then twist it into the position you require and then lock it into place. Never over tighten these collars because you do run the risk of splitting the plastic. At the moment the aerial is in the horizontal position. It can be put on the side to the vertical position for additional tuning, and that is just done just by turning the tail just here. Do make sure that the aerial is down for travel. Also in here is the solar panel regulator. Do not need to do anything with this, it will just smart charge the leisure battery as it is required. TV bracket just here, so pop your television onto there and then it plugs in just over here. So we have 12-volt plug-in point, aerial fly lead in, and we also have two main sockets as well. If I now just come to the bench seat just here and remove the cushions, and I now lift up, you can see that we have storage beneath, or vice versa, we can actually drop these parts down by holding in both points and then dropping it down, and then we can also clip it up, and then we have tie down points if we're going to store anything larger in. We can also do it with the other side as well. Also tucked in the corner here is the whale boiler to drain the boiler of water for winterization. It's all just done on this yellow lever here. Firstly, make sure that the water pump is turned off and then just turn to the side like so, and it will then drop all the water out of the boiler. If you are fully winterizing the van, I also suggest that you open up all the taps as well, because this will release any airlocks in the system and allow it to drain down much better. When it comes to refilling the boiler, make sure that the yellow drain valve is back in the position it is now. Close all the taps in the motorhome as well. Fill up the fresh water tank, turn on the water pump and allow it to run for a few minutes. Then begin opening the taps again. They'll cough, they'll splutter as they force the air out. Once they're running freely, close, and then the system will fully reprime itself. We also just have the gas isolation tap for the boiler just there. Underneath the other bench seat, we mainly have storage. We also have the back of the battery box just there, and just tucked just back here we have two 12-volt fuses, the white one being the main 25 amp fuse for the leisure battery, and the blue one being the fuse for the solar panel. The rear bed is extremely easy to make. Just slightly lift up and then pull both sections out so they meet in the middle, and then it's just a matter of popping in the cushions. I personally prefer to actually flip the cushions over because they're flatter that way, and then you don't get so many lumps and bumps, but it is down to personal preference. To make the front single bed, we firstly just need to remove the table, so just unscrew everything and then it can then all pop back out again. Once we've done this, make sure that the driver's seat is rotated round as it is at the moment. The seats rotate round just on the levers just here. They can then be moved backwards and forwards on this lever here, and they can also be raised up and down on these levers. Next, pull this section out. Then it's a matter of getting the large grey infill and then dropping it into place just here. You also get this small little infill just here, which just drops into this section just here of the driver's seat to level it slightly. Remove the backrest just here, and then it's just a matter of popping on the topper.